Former Tampa Bay Buccaneer Antonio Brown is telling CBS News his side of the story. You may recall the star wide receiver took off his shoulder pads, his jersey, and his undershirt, and then left the field in the middle of a recent game. Well, Nate Burleson sat down with him to discuss the incident and the fallout.
Antonio Brown, how you doing?
Feel good.
I don't mean how you doing in the casual sense. Genuinely, like, how are you doing?
I mean, I try to keep myself good, but, you know, it's a fight. You know, life is a fight. Everything you go through is a fight.
On the football field, Antonio Brown is a fighter and considered one of the greatest wide receivers of his generation. Off the field,
he should be ashamed of himself.
He's a team destroyer.
He is the kind of player I would never, ever want to play for.
He's a lightning rod for controversy. After his 9-season run with the Pittsburgh Steelers came to an abrupt end in late 2018, Brown carouseled around the league. In addition to rocky relationships with NFL owners and coaches, Brown also faced legal trouble, accused of sexual assault by a former trainer. Brown denies that claim. He settled with his accuser out of court. In 2020, he pleaded no contest to felony charges of burglary and battery after an incident involving a moving truck driver. And Brown was also suspended by the league late last year after allegations surfaced that he obtained a fake COVID vaccination card.
And then there was this. As you leave the field, playing against the New York Jets, I want to know what happened from halftime all the way up until that confrontation with Bruce Arians.
So leading up to that week, I'm like, I walked through Wednesday and I'm like, yo, I ain't got it. Let the trainer know, like, yo, man, I'm hobbling, like, I really can't get it going. So I let the coach know, training staff, everyone. I wake up Sunday morning, we have a walkthrough with Tom. I get to the game, you know, we playing the game. So now it's like the third quarter. On the bench, like, yo, I can't go. But I see the coach, like, he looked back like he came to me, so I'm thinking maybe he gonna come and ask me, like, yo, what it is. He came like, could you go? I'm like, nah, I can't go. So he like, yo, get the out of here. You done.
Just to be clear, you would not force a player to play.
You can't force a player to play. You can't force a player to play. I mean, they have that choice. It's their body.
Bucs coach Bruce Arians says the incident on the field during the Jets game wasn't about an injury and was unaware Brown was hurt. Arians says Brown was angry about something else.
I then went back, approached him about what was going on. I ain't playing. What's going on? I ain't getting the ball. That's when I said, you're done. Get the F out of here.
And there were also whispers about incentives and maybe some details within your contract that frustrated you as well.
No, it don't frustrate me. Like last year, I knew coming into the league, I was going to have to be on a prove it deal, earn it type deal.
Right.
And like, if I could play, what you think I'd be in the game trying to make the money?
And you'll be able to get those incentives.
Exactly. So like my incentives are performance-based. So I have to go out and perform to earn it.
Right.
So, I mean, I got close, but it's like, yo, what, I'm gonna risk my ankle?
How did you feel in that moment when he said that to you?
In that moment, I'm like, yo, I don't even want to be a part of this no more, man. I don't want to wear your uniform. In my mind, for the coach that, you know, I go to war with, I just text him I'm hurt, that I'm trying to still suck it up, they'll go to war for you.
Right.
And like here in the midst of the battle, you telling me get the hell out of here like I'm done.
This MRI from October was shared with CBS News by Brown and his legal team. Allegedly taken by Bucs team doctors, it shows loose bone fragments and a detached ligament in Brown's ankle. You said originally they told you that the ankle injury was so bad that it should have been non-weight bearing for how long?
6 to 12 weeks.
6 to 12 weeks. So you came back sooner than expected.
Yes.
Now, where do you stand currently with the organization?
Well, the organization don't got no loyalty, man. These guys played me while I was hurt, knowingly, and they needed it because their guys got hurt.
Brown and his attorney tell CBS News the team approached him with an offer of around $200,000 to check himself into a mental health treatment regimen. I have a question for you, and you can answer this however you want to, if you want to.
Yeah.
Have you ever been diagnosed with a mental health condition, and do you believe that has been a factor in any of these public incidents?
I never had a mental health diagnosis, like, you know what I mean? Like, I never had an issue or problem. I don't take pills. I just got a high IQ.
I'm an advocate for therapy. Do you have a therapist in your life?
I mean, I tried it through the NFL, but I don't really got time to consult with random people I don't know about my mental space or how I look at things. Most of the people from different forms of the world, like I'm from the pit. Most of the people we talk to, they from the palace. So how your lenses look at life is not how mine is.
I don't need to go into details, but there's public incidents, lawsuits against you.
Yes.
These teams that you joined and it didn't work out.
Yeah.
I bring all of that up.
Yes.
Not to squarely place the blame on your shoulders, but to ask you, is there something you could have done differently? Do you take responsibility?
Yeah.
Do you look in the mirror and say, you know what? I was out of pocket in this situation.
Yeah. I feel like, man, everything I did because my heart believed that was what I needed to do. And in life, sometimes you got to listen to your heart because that's the only way I could go to sleep at night. What I believe in my heart, in my eyes, and how I look at things and things I did, I think they all provoked me to be in this position I'm in.
You had this tremendous run with the Steelers.
Yeah.
It doesn't end the way people expected.
Yeah.
You go to Oakland, that doesn't work out. You go to New England, that doesn't work out.
Yeah.
You land in Tampa, do win a ring.
Yeah.
But as we see right now, that didn't work out.
Yeah.
For people that say the common denominator is Antonio, what do you say to that?
I always did what's best for me. I mean, that's what it is.
My man Nate Burleson joins us now to talk about this and break down the interview. So, Nate, what have the Bucs said in response to your reporting?
Well, they pointed to a statement, and in part, it basically read that they were aware that Antonio Brown was dealing with some type of ankle injury and that he was on the injury report leading up to that game. But as far as not being able to play in real time, they say they were unaware. And Bruce Arians said that he was familiar. He knew that Antonio Brown might have been dealing with something. But as far as game day, he was fine. You know, I think there's a perception of the athlete that makes you believe that at the point that they're on the field, they are 100% healthy. I have to be very clear and bring people on the field and into the locker room. At this point in the season, everybody's banged up. It is inevitable. The injury rate in the NFL is 100%. So I think they all knew Antonio Brown was dealing with something. It just seems like there was a break in the communication and they weren't on the same page.
So right at the end there of your story, you know, he said, look, I was thinking I was doing what's right for me, which I understand that. You can't fault somebody for that. But I also thought, oh, is that a team approach, you know? And so based on your conversation with him, could you see him back in football, either another team wanting him or him even being interested in playing again?
I was once told by a great coach, a guy that I work with on Sundays, Bill Cowher, Hall of Fame coach for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He said to me, toleration is based on talent. And if a guy is talented enough, we will tolerate his actions. So Antonio Brown is still one of the better receivers in the NFL. Is he the best at his position? I'm not sure I can say that, but he still is very productive and could be of value to any team in the NFL. I just feel like in the time that it will take for this to blow over, Antonio Brown will have to do some soul searching. I believe that he should maybe talk to a therapist. I think steps in the right direction, that will show teams that are interested that Antonio Brown is working on things that he can control. Because like I brought up at the end of the conversation, said, Antonio, you know, there's a lot of incidents, very public, and you are the common thread that ties all of them together. Do you take responsibility of some of those things? And he kind of hesitated and said, I was following my heart. And let me be very clear and detailed with some of the things that weren't shown in the sit down. He did take responsibility. And he said, of course I can do things differently, and I've learned from the past. So to answer your question, I do believe that in time, if people see that he's taking steps in the right direction, he'll play again. He has a lot of football left. So if he doesn't play, if he's not on the team next year, it isn't because he isn't talented enough.
That's the question.
Nate.
Yeah, if he's playing on a team next year.
Nate, thank you very much. Excellent interview. Thank you.
You guys are doing a great job.
My man. Thank you.
Now, don't forget, you can stream CBS Mornings every weekday on CBS News. Join Gail, Tony, and Nate right here from 8 a.m. Eastern.